Shenmue, a game that not only redefined a genre, but a console. 13 years have passed since it was first released on Sega's Dreamcast, and its influence is felt to this day in games such as Grand Theft Auto and Heavy Rain. Yu Suzuki, the man responsible for many of Sega's arcade classics like Space Harrier, Afterburner, Virtua Racing, and Virtua Fighter, just to name a few, set his sights on the RPG. Initially, it was going to expand on the Virtua Fighter universe and tell the story of Akira, long before he became the Sega icon we've come to know and cherish. As time wore on, Virtua Fighter RPG evolved into Shenmue. Akira became Ryo, though they still look frightfully similar. After 2 long, hard years of production, Saturn's last hope was nearing completion. However, it looked as though Saturn was not Shenmue's future. Thanks, Bernie. The system was discontinued and production was put on hold. Then came Dreamcast, like a white knight on a silver steed. Progress resumed. Sega used Shenmue to demonstrate this new console's 3D graphics capabilities, graphics that were truly awe-inspiring for the time. It was finally released in Japan on December 29, 1999, and November 6, 2000 in North America. The day I fell in love with Japan. It came on 3 GD-ROMs with a disc labeled Passport. It gave you some trailers, access to cutscenes and music, along with some internet access. Never really took advantage of that service, though. The real meat's on those first 3 discs. The game begins in Yokosuka, Japan on November 29, 1986. Ryo Hazuki, our 18-year-old protagonist, returns home to find a mysterious black car parked in the drive and the welcome sign split in 2. He then sees his elderly housekeeper, Ine-san. She warns him of the danger that awaits him in the family dojo, where his father, Hazuki-sensei, faces off against a powerful warrior donned in green silk. This mysterious man demands the location of a certain mirror. Hazuki-sensei refuses. Ryo tries to intervene. Instead, his life is threatened, forcing Hazuki into giving his unwelcome guest the elusive mirror. Lan Di then mentions a man Hazuki killed prior to the events depicted here, murders Hazuki-sensei, and leaves Ryo to watch his father take one last breath. Though it may be a little melodramatic, it's a powerful opening. You immediately identify with Ryo and want nothing more than to find his father's murderer and make him hurt. 4 days later, the journey begins. Ryo needs more information about that day.
On that day, the day of the incident, did you happen to see a black car that day?
You're going to hear that line a lot, let me tell you. Anyway, all you really have to go on is that black car and a name. As Ryo, you are given several areas to explore, namely Yamanose, Sakuragoka, Dobuita, and the Yokosuka Harbor, all teeming with non-playable characters with their own daily routines. You'll have all day and most of the evening to make inquiries before returning home for the night. As the days pass, weather will shift in accordance with the season in which the story takes place. You'll experience rain, snow, overcast, and sunny conditions. Nowadays, this is nothing new. In 1999, it was extraordinary.
This is cool.
Eventually, you'll be given a piece of information that requires you to meet someone at a certain time and place. It can be 10:30 in the morning, but the meet won't go down until 8:30 at night. What to do until then? You can keep snooping around until you've exhausted every citizen of Yokosuka. Then what? Well, why not play in the arcade? Yeah, you can play Hang On, or Space Harrier, or darts. Damn, I was addicted to that game. How about you brush up on your karate? There are scrolls placed throughout, as well as NPCs that will teach you new fighting techniques. You can even go shopping. Hit up the tomato convenience store and buy some tapes, or tuna, or milk. You gotta feed the cat anyway. That cat. Early in the game, Ryo finds a young girl nursing a kitten back to health. Come to find out, the black car ran over Mama Cat on that day. I'm sorry, but that makes me chuckle every time. Okay, as far as I know, you don't have to take care of this cat. Still, I'm a cat owner in reality, so it felt only natural to take care of it. After a few days of playing this game, I had inadvertently fallen into a routine of giving the cat milk in the morning after I woke up and tuna in the evening on my way home. After a while, this cat didn't need me anymore, which kind of upset me. Only then did I think to myself, why am I upset? Why was I even bothering with that cat in the first place? Why wasn't I looking for my father's killer? You see, that's how Shenmue lures you in. The environments and situations are so natural and realistic, you feel as if you're a part of this world. When you're not loitering or feeding the animals, you're asking questions, hanging out in dives, tattoo parlors, parking lots, getting into trouble. However, Ryo is quick to put someone in their place, either with quick-time events or free battles. They're few and far between at first, but things will heat up as you progress. Until then, you gotta wait, and wait. Unlike Rise of the Dragon, where you can manipulate time and move it forward, young Ryo has no choice but to wait around for events to unfold. Depending on how quickly you can figure things out, you may be waiting around for quite a while. This isn't like the sandbox titles of today where you can take on a side mission or two while you wait. Instead, you're goofing off or working at the harbor. Yes, you'll eventually find a clue that will have you exploring the harbor. You're within arm's reach of Land D when you find that the only way Ryo can move forward with his investigation is by taking on a part-time job driving a forklift, moving crates, etc. As far as I'm concerned, this was my first job. Probably Ryo's as well. The game has a way of sucking you in. It made the mundane amazing somehow. The story is what draws us in. Playing detective, hunting down your father's killer while having to grow up in the process, not to mention the mysteries surrounding Hazuki-sensei's past, Land D, and the Phoenix Mirror. This is Shenmue's true power. Good storytelling. That is why it continues to stand the test of time, in my opinion at least. I could be wrong. The graphics can't compete with the current generation, no, but they were incredible in 1999. At the time, its only competition was PlayStation and Nintendo 64. This blew them both out of the water. The world of Shenmue is large, detailed, and full of life. Texture maps are both sharp and colorful. I'm still impressed with just how much life the developers were able to capture. There are some minor issues like characters vanishing and reappearing at random. This isn't a deal breaker, but it's annoying when you're working the forklift on a timed task. The camera can be a severe irritation during the free battle sequences. You can control the camera, though it's easy to forget once you're in the thick of it. On to the soundtrack. Honestly, it's no less impressive than the visual presentation. The score is beautifully written and composed. Along with Metal Gear Solid and the original Resident Evil, it's one of my favorite video game soundtracks of all time. Sound effects create a vivid, aural landscape, creating a sense of reality rarely heard in games of the time. As for voice acting, the English dub is...
I don't have no more. Please, leave me be.
Huh? No more? Don't mess with me!
Stop it!
And just who are you?
Don't you know that blackmail is way uncool?
Thinks you stop it? You Hazuki from Suka High!
Hazuki!
Yeah? So what?
I ain't afraid of him. I can take this geek.
questionable.
It was rude of me to eavesdrop.
Oh, it's okay.
No, it wasn't. But then, who could tell the son of Iwao Hazuki to stay out of trouble? I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm letting your father down.
Goro,
Yo, bro!
you know about the Mad Angels?
Oh yeah! Working hard, eh, bro?
Why are you shouting?
Ryo, Ine-san, and Master Chen are solid, though Tom and Goro... For the love of Sega, make it stop. They're two of the most irritating non-playable characters I've ever had the displeasure of interacting with, and my sphincter clenches whenever I have to deal with them. Controls are solid. Admittedly, using the D-pad in order to move Ryo feels kinda stiff. I'd rather use the analog stick, though it's meant for you to examine the environment more closely. Otherwise, response time is very precise, and I never felt like throwing my controller across the room in a childlike fit of frustration. Hey, it even makes use of the rumble pack. Very nice. One last thing I must mention is the ending. As much as I hate to spoil this for newcomers, cover your ears. Shenmue ends on a cliffhanger. Lan Di has escaped and set sail for China. Unabated, Ryo pursues Lan Di, and credits. This doesn't bother me, seeing as how I had already read that 2 sequels were well into production. Then, the unthinkable happened. Sony finally released its PlayStation 2 with a mediocre launch lineup and the cheapest DVD player available at the time. Dreamcast sales took a massive hit, which led to the system's early retirement, and Sega leaving the console race. Shenmue 2 was released in Japan and Europe, but North America didn't receive a copy until it was eventually ported to Microsoft's Xbox. Sadly, sales failed to surpass even their most modest expectations, and Shenmue was put to rest. The whole experience reminded me very much of Farscape being cancelled after an incredible cliffhanger in its 5th season. Thanks to overwhelming fan support, the creators were able to end their series properly with the Peacekeeper Wars, giving fans that much-needed closure. And that's what we want. Closure.